Greetings, peace, everyone. Welcome to Community Radio. I'm your host, Kim, and I just want to say thank you to all of you who have tuned in for the show today. And I also want to say thank you to those who are listening, who may be at work, and for those who continue to support all of the shows on enlightenment and transformation, but maybe can't get to the phone to call in and join the conversation. We have gotten your emails expressing your thanks for the show, and I just want to return that. So thank you, and thank you for your continued support. I also want to remind everyone about the resources that we offer online. If you would like to get involved with what we're doing at A New Nation, you can go to anewlifeglobal.org and you hit the Join Our Community tab to lend your talents or to join some of the groups that we have. If you go to that tab, you just fill out the form and you specify what you would like to be a part of. I also wanted to remind you all that if you send us an email asking questions about, our services or what we offer, to make sure that you don't have us marked for spam or have the address blocked. I've gotten a few emails asking questions and I can't return them because you have us blocked. So make sure that you unblock us from your incoming mail. And today is Thursday, and so on Tuesday we were discussing Chief Speaks from Sunday about magic and manifestation. And so we got a lot of good feedback on that show. So if you'd like to call in and tell us what part of that show resonated with you, or if you have any questions about it, you can call 347-945-7680 and just press the number 1 to join in and ask your question or share your testimony or whatever you express whatever you'd like to talk about today. I see we already have one hand up, so I'm going to go ahead and bring them in. And that caller is 337. Greetings, Journal Community Radio. Peace.
Hi.
How are you?
Hi. I'm good. This is actually my first time calling the show.
Welcome.
I wonder. We can ask questions or just
Sure.
out of curiosity. I actually would like to know if what's going on in my life pertaining of if anything's coming up for me.
Okay. If you would like information on that, you can get a reading. And so you can go to askosiris.com to request a reading, or you can go to Sedulu House or any of our other websites, and you can schedule an appointment for that.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. So again, we were discussing the show on manifestation and magic from Sunday's Chief Speaks show. And like I said, we got a lot of really good feedback from that. And I see we have another hand up. I think this is Anwar. He was going to chime in with some points that resonated with him. Peace, Anwar. How are you?
Yes. Greetings. How's family doing today?
We're good. How are you?
All right. Good. So yeah, like I said, I had those 2 points. We covered one on that show on Tuesday in regards to what we were speaking of, taking ourselves out of the element with the effort. Either you care or you don't, right? But the real point that stuck out on the show, and I've been listening to that show multiple times, like almost every day, because I'm in it. I feel like I'm in it. I'm not manifesting what I'm in a beginning stage of where I'm at, manifesting the things I need so I can become greater at the end of the situation. And I acknowledge that. What really stuck out to me is what Chief said about holistically. You know what I'm saying? Holistically. And then it's on top of the thing that the 14 Keys video that he dropped today, where he was talking about community and having a functional community, which is another another point I'm talking about in a few minutes. But the first point that he spoke on was there's success in failure, and there's failure, or there's also failure in success, and how we have to look at this as a holistic thing. If we keep on separating it and using that dualistic sight that we have, that we earthly and humanistically have to separate male, female, positive, negative, go down the list, heaven, hell, cold, hot. We look at the whole procedure as two parts. We're never really understanding the whole concept of manifestation or being the magician and stepping into the magic of it. And that was one of the main points that we really speak on last Tuesday's show. But it's the holistic view of that effort. Because the way I look at it is like, look, we either care or we don't. And if we can understand that caring is just the middle ground of it, and flow our manifestations through what we care about or what we don't care about, and understanding that the reason why we don't care about it is because we care about something else. And balancing that holistic view of the success and the failure of what we're trying to manifest or what we're trying to bring our magic into, then we can kind of get a full understanding of what we need to do. Instead of us, like, for example, for me, money's been an issue for me, and I find it that if I look at the reason why I've been failing on receiving enough money to be financially, I don't like using the word stable. There's no stability in finances to me. I don't believe in that. But to be more financially capable, if I look at all the times I've failed to manifest the cash and the currency that I needed on hand, I learned, I go back and say, I learned that this doesn't work. This right here, what I just did to try to make some money here didn't work. So I continue to do it. Now this is where the insanity comes in, is where I continue to keep on doing that same thing, and I'm going to get a different result. So now another thing he said is that it's the continuation of trying to do something and keep on doing something that makes the magic get stronger. Like he said you were trying to manifest 5,000, but the first time out you did 5 cents, and then the next time out you did 10 cents, and the next, and so forth, so on. So it's also the commitment that you're putting into your magic that I'm recognizing that it's you have to be in it, and you have to get to the point where you do your ritual, you do your magic, you do whatever to the point where it's unconsciously in your brain. Like you don't even need to go grab a piece of paper. You don't have to grab it. You know exactly what materials you're going to need. You know exactly what you're going to say. You know exactly how you're going to look at it when you walk out the door, and not around the ritual, and that ritual is still breathing and living in you. It's just like what Chief was talking about, being the Odu. Like, let's say if we do get a reading, we receive our Odu, and getting inside of it and bringing that Odu to life is part of that process. So, those are we touched on. Like I said, we touched on the point of on our last show about just looking at it and going from the polarities, but we didn't touch on the point on looking at it holistically and looking at the success and the failure, seeing the success in the failure and seeing the failure in success. And he even broke it down. It's like, look, either it's on the left side or it's on the right side. And what really kind of stuck out with me too was the part where he said the magician manifests on the horizontal, not on the vertical. So what I did to kind of understand that statement, what I did is that when I've been working, when I've been walking around, I've been looking horizontal. I've been looking at everything that's flowing amongst the horizontal of the plane of Earth, period, IA. I'm looking at how the trees are blowing, to how the cars are driving, to how people are walking out of whatever fast food joint. You know what I'm saying? So you look at those, and that's just an example. You know, when you're getting into your magic, let's say for me dealing with money, I'm looking at how horizontally, how the money is coming in right now, how I'm seeing things manifest right now, and what is wrong on the plane that's stopping the streams of current. And I want to use that word current. A lot of people understand that the energy that of anything that we're doing has a current, a pull, a push and pull, a negative electromagnetic concept that's flowing from one hand to another or one place to another. And when you're looking at your ritual or your magic in that horizontal view, you're starting to see the polarities. You're starting to see what's working and what's not working, what's achieving and what's not achieving, what's failing, what's succeeding. You know, and I even came up with a good question that maybe later on we can answer. But it's I wrote it down. Hold on 1 second. Okay, I said with respect to current or electromagnetism, holistically, with respect, can we fully define reality? Can we fully define the reality we want to manifest with respect to that? With respect to the electromagnetic pull, and the thing, can we really focus? And when I say manifest, can we manifest it instantaneously from that realm, that Otumare realm? That because we are Olodumare, we aren't Olodumare, but we are. We're part of it. We're not the full, but we're part of it. So is there a possibility, is there a way that we can get to that point where we're manifesting our magic, our rituals, our thoughts, our ideas, our aspects of our life instantaneously?
Yeah. You brought up a lot of really, really great points. And it's kind of related to... Yeah, it relates to what we're going to talk about, what I was thinking about today as well. One of the things you said was about doing something repeatedly to get results. And I know that sometimes when we do a ritual, like we want it to work right then and we just do it one time and then we quit. But like you said, maybe the first time you do it, you might get a nickel. The next time, maybe you get $5. The next time, you know, and so on. A lot of us, sometimes we just do it once and we stop. But like you said, the first time you do it, it's like you're following a recipe. You're trying to make sure you got all the right ingredients, trying to make sure you go through all the steps correctly. So it may not work as good the first time. But then the second time you do it, you're a little bit more comfortable. Maybe the third time you do it, you're more relaxed in it, and you can actually be in the ritual holistically, like you said. And I think that's very, very important. And I've said that before, just in speaking about phase 1 of the training. It's a lengthy class, and there are a lot of rituals in it. Like every lesson has a ritual that goes along with it. And sometimes we can kind of speed through it really, really fast, and just say, okay, I did it, it's done. But sometimes it takes us like at least 3 times to do it because it's so lengthy, and because like the first time, like I said, maybe some of us skip steps, or we may try to substitute something that, we were supposed to have and we didn't have it. So we just skipped it and went ahead and did it anyway. But like you said, the key is to do it until you get to the point where you're, like 100% all the way in it. And then I think you can really take a true assessment of what your results are. Another thing you were speaking about was, manifesting it, instantly. And I think that has a lot to do with, again, what you said about approaching something holistically. and, having that knowing that it works. One of the points that stuck out to me in the show too was that, like you said, you give what you want. So, and this is a problem that a lot of us may have, because we just can't separate from our pockets. If we want money, like you said, if that's what you want, you have to give it. And so a lot of us don't like to give up money because we feel like, I'm going to be broke or whatever. But we also have to look at it in a different way as well. Maybe you don't have to give money, but you can give time, or you can, help someone, or, there are different ways to kind of, that current that you were speaking of. Mm-hmm. There are different ways that it may show up to you. Maybe you don't, if you give some money to someone, maybe, next week your car breaks down, you may run into somebody that knows how to fix cars, that may, do you a solid and help you out. So you have to think about the money that you saved, you know what I mean? And think about the money that you saved when, when you've given something. And so it comes to us in all different streams. And another point you brought out was about doing something and getting a result like instantaneously. Well, in the spiritual realm, we have to remember that there is no time. So what we consider to be like right now, you can't really see all of the things that are in the works, right then. If you give $5, somebody may not come right behind you and put $5 back into your hand. There may be some things in the works to build up to that, or that are coming that you can't really see, because, like I said, there's no time, in the spiritual realm. So, I think you hit on some really, really great points, and we're gonna explore that a little bit more. And later on in the show, we have another caller that has their hand up, and I'm going to come right back to you, Anwar. Just hang on just a second. 270. 270, you're on Community Radio.
Hello.
Peace, how are you?
I'm fine. Well, actually, I'm sorry. I just accidentally pressed the button earlier. But
okay.
I'm recognizing it now. I'm just new to a lot of the spiritual, the whole aspect of the spirituality, and I haven't caught up on Manifesting Magic of last Tuesday, but I'll catch up. But I'm just thankful that you all was able to give me advice through this session. So that's all I want to say. Thank you all.
Okay. Thank you for calling in, and thank you for your support.
Oh, no problem. Bye-bye.
Okay. Peace. All right. So we got some new callers on the line. Again, like I said, thank you for all of you that are listening, who maybe can't get to the phone right now, and who have listened to previous shows. So today we're kind of talking about polarity and manifestation, and we're continuing the conversation from Tuesday's show. And the reason I brought this up is because there was another point in the show that Chief brought up about positive and negative charges, and just the energy of creation, and how we have to be respectful of those energies when we're trying to manifest something, because it is like a sexual act. When you bring two different polarities together, you always produce something. Whether you're conscious of it or not, something is produced. And again, going back to what Anwar was saying, we may not see it instantly, or you may not get it back the same way you give it, or you just may not see it, but you are producing something, whether you know it or not. So another reason why I brought that up, let's see, let me go to this caller real quick. 864.
Greetings, Sister Kim. How are you?
Peace, Carissa. How are you?
I am doing great. I was reflecting and listening to you, and Goodness gracious, right before you said about positive and negative, I was thinking about the magician and how my greatest manifestation ever are my children. And it's like they let me know that I can manifest, I guess. Like if I ever need to know that I am a magician, my children let me know that I am able to manifest. And it's funny, Brother Omar brought up rituals, because today I broke a ritual with my daughter. And when I left school today, it felt so funny. Like I wanted to go back in there and make sure that I did it, but I didn't. And I regret that, but that's okay. I'll get back on track with Mara. But this is like a ritual with my daughter that I have stuck with. And since she started going to school. And, it works. Like, it works. Like, I've never really, really hardcore did like any of the free rituals online. And I'm going to. But, just that me and my daughter's space. And, doing that with her every day and seeing the benefits of it. Like, she's doing very well. She's just in, 4K, but she's doing very well. So just knowing that, okay, I've been able to manifest these children. And now, I still can manifest with my children. And it works. And then, like, as far as this positive and negative, I was thinking, okay, me and my children, our relationship is exact opposite almost of one another, but it's balanced. Of course we have our flaws, but, as a parent, you caregive, and your children, they're like care receivers. And if you're doing it, they expect you to do it, and you're going to do it. But, it's like everything for them is me, and then, for us it's you, but it works. And like I can see the work that I put in them blossom on them, so.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm being really, really personal today, but that is something that I've been thinking about ever since listening to Chief Priest and listening to it a few times, and it's sticking with me. And the fact that I broke my ritual, and just the things that you said and Brother Omar said, just kind of took me to that point. But I don't know, I just had to share that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. It's almost like depositing money into an account. You keep putting energy into it, and maybe sometimes your deposits aren't as large as they were maybe the previous time, but the fact that you keep putting something in it, that you keep giving and that you keep putting something in, that energy, or like Omar said, that currency is still flowing. You know what I mean? As long as you continue to keep that stream open. So yeah, we do see it reflected back in our children and in other things. And I also want to bring up too that even the things that we may consider to be negative, like they're still manifesting as well. We're not, just speaking about so-called good things like money and, things like that. But you also have to pay attention to the negative things that you're feeding as well. Sometimes we give a lot of energy to those things that we really don't pay much attention to. And again, it goes back to what we were saying about polarities. You're creating all the time. Maybe you're not as conscious of it, but you're always feeding that energy. And again, I was going to bring up another reason why I titled the show Polarity and Manifestation is because of a video that I saw on, I think it was passed around on Facebook. And it was of this little girl who was questioning why, the messages and things sent on girls' T-shirts and boys' T-shirts. She was shopping with her mother. And she was asking, why is the message one thing for boys and one thing for girls? And I thought that it was really important because sometimes we neglect or ignore some of the energy that we come into creation with. Like if you're a woman, just knowing which end of the spectrum that you're on, where you're starting from in order to manifest some things is important. And sometimes we overlook that. And so for those of you who haven't seen the clip, I was just going to play it really fast so that you can hear it, and then we can continue the discussion. So give me just a second. I'm going to play that for you.
Okay, Daisy, here we are in Tesco's. What do you think of the clothes on offer today?
Well, the girls' clothes say, hey, beautiful, I feel fabulous. The boys, desert adventure away. Think outside the box, hero.
And what do you think about that?
It's unfair because everyone thinks that girls should just be pretty and boys should just be adventurous.
And what do you think about that?
I think that's wrong because why should boys and girls even be boys and girls' clothes even be separated? Because we're just as good as each other.
Brilliant. I agree with you completely, Daisy. And you love adventure, don't you?
Yeah.
You're my hero. And you like green. Why don't we just get you the boys' top? Good idea.
So, think outside the box. What does this mean? It means go on your adventures, let nothing stop you, go for your own dreams, and hey, what is that even supposed to mean?
I don't know, it would inspire you to say, hey.
Yeah. Like,
don't you find that inspiring?
I don't find that inspiring. What part of hey is great? I don't get it. Look, boys get think outside the box, which means be adventurous, go for your dreams, and hey, so what does that mean? What does it inspire you to do?
Okay, so that was the audio from the video, but the little girl was in, I think it was Target, and Target did issue a response to that. But she saw that the girls' shirts, I think one of the shirts only said, hey, with an exclamation point. And then in the boys section, they had, hero, be adventurous, think outside the box. And so she was trying to say, like, why, first she said, why should they be separated? But then she said, why is it encouraging the boys to say this? And then the girls' message really says nothing. We're just supposed to be pretty. And as I was listening to it, I understand her point, but at the same time, we have to be respectful of each other's energy. So the part about boys being adventurous and things, we have to go back to understanding what male energy is. And it's a directed energy. It's will. It is being adventurous. It is going out. And that's what male energy does. And I'm not speaking just in terms of sex. I'm speaking in terms of polarity as well. That energy, it goes out. It sends things out. And of course, feminine energy draws things in. And it also reminded me of a passage in a Zora Neale Hurston book where, I think I mentioned this before, where these women were initiating another woman into marriage. And so they were giving her information about what to do, what to expect, and they were giving her all these cleansing baths and everything. And they were one of the things that Zora Neale Hurston, she was talking with another man while all this was going on. She was documenting this, and he was saying that women are for comfort. That's it. We're here to make things beautiful, and we're here for comfort. And so that clip just kind of reminded me of that. And like I said, on one hand, I understand what she's saying, about, girls and, how girls and boys are separated. But I think it's important that we recognize what each other's roles are and what the gifts are that you come to the planet with. And we touched on it a little bit on Tuesday when we were just talking about how we approach things as a man and how we approach things as a woman. But one thing we have to realize, too, is that duality is expressed in creation everywhere. And it's a very important part of magic and manifestation. In the classes that we offer and in a lot of the shows that Chief has done, he brings this up. And so everything that we do on this planet has dualism in it. Everything has a positive or negative charge. And so we have to know how to combine certain things to get a result, because you can't, you can see this just in playing with magnets. You can't force a negative pole and a negative pole those two things don't attract each other, so they don't produce anything unless they're forced together, unless you push them together really, really hard. Some external force pushes them together to try to make them attract. And even still, there's some resistance there. So we have to be, just kind of be mindful of what we're creating and what we're doing when we're trying to combine things. I know in the oils class, in the herbs class, in the alchemy class that I do, in the candle magic class, just about all of them, there's an aspect of recognizing and respecting polarities when we do these different things. Even in breathing, you have to, you inspire and you exhale. So everything is like a sexual act. If you want to manifest something, if there's creation involved, you have to respect those poles. And also, I remember there was a show that Chief did where he says, by ignoring that, you ignore your purpose for coming to the planet. And so really digging into, masculine energy or feminine energy or negative and positive, hot and cold, whatever it is that you're working with, is so critical and so important to really understand that. And so that's why, again, you had, male societies, female societies, so that we can kind of get together and really understand what it means to be female, what it means to be male. And so that we're operating, correctly from those spaces. So in listening to that clip and just kind of listening to what some of the callers have said and what I've added, what do you think about it? What do you think about that clip and what the little girl was saying, if you can make it out? And if you have a comment, like I said, just press the number 1. I'll bring you in, and the number is 347-945-7680. So, Carissa, what do you think about it?
I have to go back to where it's touching right, I guess, my life. Okay, when I was in college, I did a sorority. Mm-hmm. And, there were two different, there's a dominate, in black sororities, the two main two. There's Delta and Alpha Kappa Alpha. I'll leave it there. Mm-hmm. Now, two of the, the AKAs were pretty much the black version of what you just, showed me. They were groomed to go to work, be the teachers, be domestic, and, that was cool. And I guess I'm just thinking as a female, too, from, then there were the other, females, the other side of the woman, I guess, that wanted to bring away and do, save the world, march, do all that stuff for women's rights. And I don't know. My mind, I'm thinking about a lot, Kim, and everything that she's saying and the different stuff people are saying and how it's all connected. I'm getting a little all over the place.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna bring in 615 and see what they have to say. So just think about it, and then I'll come back to you. 615, you're on Community Radio.
Greetings, Sister Kim.
Greetings, Cedric. How are you?
I'm well. I was listening to what she said, and I think she's in the process of depolarizing herself. She started off, I think, good at an early age, knowing that you shouldn't be polarized. But I think at a certain point, there's a certain level of responsibility that the adults have to children, in order to let them know, like, okay, no matter how equal you think you are, y'all are not the same and never will be able to. Because no matter how much that boy wants to, that boy will never be able to have a period, have a child, or breastfeed. You come equipped with that. And I was listening to a show from Chief about sexual magic or sexual alchemy, and he said that there are no rules, but there are definitely consequences. So you manifested on this plane of consciousness as the gender-specific being that you are, and you have to fulfill that for your karma to be good. So I think this is something that the parents are going to have to take a step back and like, okay, let's look at it for what it is. Okay, let's not be emotional about it, and let's not be robotic about it. Let's just keep it real. I think on another show he had said that the sign of maturity is being able to accept things for what they are. There's a reason that boys and girls are different, because they grow different, they learn different, they do different things. No, like I said, someone has to have the children. Everybody can't go out and be, the light force or the active force. Somebody has to perpetuate the existence of society. So I think most feminists or most people who take a gender-based ideology are extremely polarized and to me a little bit off, because you can't deny what you came down as, and to go around changing that is almost disrespectful to the source as well as your higher self. That's like saying you didn't know what you was doing, I'm gonna change it, and everyone has to deal with it. Although I came down here with this assignment, I'm gonna change it, and everyone gotta accept it, and I'm still gonna receive my positive my positive karma based off of my will to change who I decided to come down here as. So I think I think she has a good start of being depolarized, but I think it's up to her mother. And her mother, if you ask me, her mother sounds like she don't like her dad, because she didn't put any effort into explaining why boys and girls are different. She went straight to I don't know why they're different. You're my hero. It's almost like her husband don't listen to her when she talks. So, or her dad don't listen to her when she talks. The mama. So I feel that as adults, we have to explain to children, like, fellas, this is why you have these desires. This is why you act the way you do. And when you act the way you do, if you allow her to be who you are, she will develop at her peak efficiency, and y'all will be able to work together in ways that no one else could. You're not going around fighting who you are. You're already balanced. So let's not get caught up in who's doing what. Just do what it is you're supposed to do, and then you'll be able to recognize the jive or the shade from people who ain't doing what they're supposed to do. That's what I was thinking about. So I'm gonna have to explain that to my son. I'm like, yeah, you'll never be equal to a girl, because she can do things that you simply cannot do. And if you do want to do what she do, it's gonna cost you thousands of dollars. And is it really worth it?
I was thinking the same thing when I heard it. I thought that it was interesting that she noticed the difference at such a young age. And if you saw the video, she was in her little taekwondo or her, was it karate, her gi, I think is what it's called. And that brought up another thing. So it just, I'm like, as a little girl, she's already being trained to fight. And so that made me think about, things that are acceptable or I won't say acceptable, but healthy for a woman. And it's, women are now playing football. We're doing all this kind of stuff. We're fighting. And just thinking about something else you brought up was just healthy outlets to express certain things for women. And fighting is not necessarily one of those things. It will make you more masculine. But I also agree with you. I was like, okay, why is her mother not explaining things a little bit? Yeah, explaining things a little bit more. And I think that again, like you said, is on the responsibility of the adult or of the parent to kind of point out, yes, they are, things are different, but this is why. But, again, on the little girl's part, it's interesting that she did even notice a difference. You know what I mean? I'm going to go to 443. Peace, you're on Community Radio.
Hey, peace, y'all.
Peace.
Good.
How y'all doing? Can y'all hear me good?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. I'm not at work today, y'all. I'm at home.
Ah.
Yeah, I snuck off the plantation early. I got company from out of town coming, so I'm here trying to just straighten up a little bit. But yeah, I totally agree with what Deidre was saying. I think it is a little bit of a blurred line, though. Just speaking from personal experience and having a daughter and son, raising our daughter and not so much domesticating her, like, you got to just stay at home and cook and clean. She's a very ambitious young woman. So, like I've shared before, she has her own businesses and, she's in school. She's doing a lot of things. But at the same time, she knows how to keep house and, cook and things like that. She's had the same boyfriend since the 9th grade. They live together now, and, she is, I guess, quote unquote, domesticated in that sense. And like Deidre said, we have to know our roles because that's where the balance comes in. You cannot disrupt that male-female balance. One cannot survive without the other. And I tell you a quick story, a perfect example. Before we all moved down here to Florida, I stayed in Baltimore for a year with the children. My husband moved down first. And then that summer, he came up and got the boys, and then I came down a month later. So with all of that, I mean, he picked the house, and I didn't even know where I was coming to. I didn't know where I was living. He literally just texted me the address and was like, yeah, this is your new home. So I'm like, okay, cool. And, I wasn't disappointed. I was like, yeah, good job. Like, this is awesome, But when I came in, mind you, it's my husband and my 2 boys, they were living rough up in here. They didn't have a shower curtain on the shower. It was no curtains on the walls. There were no plants. There was no furniture. They only had their beds. And I was like, what the hell? Okay, where's the Target? Where's the nursery? Because I need some plants, and I need some furniture, and I need some curtains. We gotta round this thing out. And so once I got in and started, hooking stuff up and getting things, to a, for me anyway, a comfortable living condition, because I'm sure they were just in here doing what they do as, stinky boys.
Right.
It created balance. And my husband was like, yeah, it does feel a little better in here. It smells good and everything. And I'm like, yeah, because y'all was up in here living like some caveman or something. So you need that balance. Had I never came down here, they still would have been taking showers without a damn shower curtain. You know what I'm saying? So I think, and especially for females, women, and I'm pretty much just talking to all the parents that have young girls. It's a fine line because, again, for me, I really don't like to speak for everybody, but for me, yes, I do want my daughter to be ambitious, to be a go-getter, to make that money. We got to get the money. So make money. in a positive way. I'm not saying go get on the pole or nothing like that, but, you know, find something, especially if it's yours and it's your business. Yes, please, by all means, pursue that. But don't get so wrapped up in your money and your career that you forget to start a family, or you forget to, you know, find time for love and to find a mate.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's a fine line, I think. And I would imagine that some people struggle with that in having young girls. Yeah. You know, and giving her that knowledge of what her power is, what her status and her position is in this world, and then within her own home. And then even spiritually, you know, what are your super strengths? What can you do? You know, another short story. Y'all know I got stories for days. But just the other day, my oldest son, we've been having some issues with him. He's been kind of, you know, wilding out a little bit. So, you know, we got a call from the school. My husband comes in the door, because my husband and I work together. We work for the same company. So we're riding home, and he's on 10. He's like, I'm going to get in here, and I'm going to you know. And I'm like, okay, well, let's just talk about it, you know, going off about his head. But at the same time, I know that my voice is kind of limited in that. I can't jump in between this man and his son that's about to be 17. You know what I mean? But what I can do is offer that nurturing space for my son to come and talk to me. And I can also get in them shrines and call my ancestors and be like, look, y'all, please, you know, help us with this boy, because I don't really know what's going on. His father about to put him out the house. I don't want him to leave the house. You know, just come from above and sprinkle some knowledge on us so we can figure out how to handle this. You know, that's my position.
Right.
My husband's position is to come up in here and grab him up and be like, what the fuck? I mean, excuse my language, but I mean, that's pretty much how it went down. You know what I'm saying? And as much as it hurt me to see them like that, I had to back up.
Yeah.
You know, and in the past when we've had issues with our daughter, which haven't been a lot, but when it has happened, you know, he kind of fell back a little bit. Okay, you know, I don't know. I don't have a vagina. Y'all talk vagina talk. I can't. I can't be involved. You know what I mean? And he gave me that space to communicate with her the things that I needed to tell her. So
yeah.
I think all of that exists in the delicate balance, and the lines do get blurred, unfortunately. You know, and like the clip that you shared with us, and I did see that previously. Yeah, I think her parents probably need to, sit down and really put some bullet points on what that really is and what her position is as a young girl is in this world, in her house, now, and what her role would be in her house as she grows up and has her own family.
Right. Yeah, I think some of the points that you brought out, Chief has even talked about that a few times on some shows, and they were really good points, how you were saying that you can't get in the way of that man raising his son. It may hurt. It may, we may look at it and be like, oh, you're being too harsh. But boys and girls receive messages differently, and we have to be, handled differently. And far too often you find that maybe the woman may step in and try to mute or silence the man in the relationship and say, no, you're being too hard on him. You need to step back. I'll handle it, And that kind of diminishes, we're stepping in on manhood training there a little bit, a lot bit rather. And it's important that we, like you said, respect those differences and act accordingly. Another thing you said was that you handle the magic part. And that goes back to what you said about, the men and the women should be doing the same thing. We can't expect our men to be, in the shrine with us, meditating and doing rituals with us all the time. Like, they do something completely different. The women handle, the women can handle the magic and the rituals and, all of that. But the man is doing something else. So we shouldn't necessarily be doing the same things. And like you said, those lines get blurred a lot. And this affects us not just as a man and as a woman, but how we approach everything. Because like I said earlier, duality exists in everything, including, food, plants, herbs, things like that. Again, I kind of go into detail about that in the herbs class that I did and the oils class as well, trying to understand which herbs are male, which herbs are female. What do I need to combine for this particular ritual, and how should I combine it? I'm going to go to another caller that has their hand up, 804. Greetings. You're on Community Radio.
Greetings.
I
was calling in. I think I caught the very beginning of it, or the tail end rather of it. I think, in my opinion, sometimes I think for the little girl, I think that was what I heard. The little girl was saying that they needed some messages as well that meant a little bit more than,
hey.
Attention. Hello? Yeah, hey, or an attention-getting statement or something like that. And in some ways, I kind of agree with her. From the standpoint of men aren't always around, and it's not always, I don't mean it in a long-term standpoint, from a long-term standpoint where, there are these colonies of women that, exist without men or anything like that. But I think there are situations where women have to make decisions or have to take a lead role just because they may be in a situation, for instance, those girls who were kidnapped in Nigeria. Of course, there may have been a search party of men looking for those women, but there was probably a sister in that group that said, look, we're going to have to do this, we're going to have to do that, we have to organize, as opposed to just, hey, And so in some instances, maybe women do need, I don't think there's an absolute, in other words, in terms of how women should always act, because, situations change. But is it possible that women do have to be heroes sometimes? And then when there's a man present who's worthy of that role, they can take a back seat. Almost I guess that kind of makes sense to me in reference to the conversation that was had last month with the alpha male and the alpha female. And the female wasn't left out per se in terms of her role and what she needed to do and when she had to take charge. And, she had instructions as well on who she needed to be and how she needed to project herself in this world. So I would just offer that as sort of like a devil's advocate argument. Maybe there are sometimes when women do have to take the lead in certain situations.
Yeah. Now I agree with you on that. Last month, the end of the month show, Sister Taya kind of went into this a little bit because she's, studying. She was sent on a mission to study some of these things. The situations where women should take the role or should take leadership was pretty much like what you said. In a situation where there are all women and another woman is giving direction to another woman. So there are hierarchies, of course, amongst the women where you have maybe an alpha woman taking control or or giving advice or saying what needs to be done amongst other women. So I do agree with you there. There are times when women should be sort of a mentor to another woman, and that speaks to different relationships that we have with each other. Usually it's the older woman, giving wisdom to a younger woman. Nowadays, that's not necessarily the case because we have some older women who are on the same level as the younger women. But yeah, I think, like you said, there are times when women should take the lead, but that's amongst other women. So like you said, when a male energy is present, that woman does have to come under the leadership of the man to kind of, step back and step down a little bit. So yeah, I do agree with what you were saying. But I think we have to be very careful not to, not to say that, she should dictate to the man what to do.
Right. No, I don't mean to conflate roles, but what I'm saying is that was a teachable moment for her.
Yeah.
In terms of, saying, look, you're the hero too sometimes, and sometimes but you never just, hey, I kind of understand what she meant by saying, well, I don't have anything on my shirt, it might as well have been just a white tee, or or you could at least put some flowers or some images or something on it, but it's just
right.
Like, hey, kind of, it doesn't give me any instruction. It doesn't really inform who I am. As much as it does for the male or the boys. They get a proverb for all intents and purposes, and I just get a word. So, and maybe it was like you remember in Living Color, I think they used to say, hey, maybe that's what it was or something. I don't know, but I understand where she was coming from and feeling that as if she was more than just that. And so maybe there needs to be a gender-specific T-shirt, or I don't know. But I do feel like I understand what she meant, but I don't mean to bring that up to conflate the roles of male and female. Yeah.
Yeah, perfectly understood. I agree with you. And like you were saying, certain the message to the young boys was very specific, like you said, almost a proverb, and women don't get very much. I think it's because maybe women don't really know what their roles are or how to empower them, because most of the part, like you said, we'll get something like, you don't know if it was saying like, hey, like that kind of sentiment or what. And I think that is a problem. Like, most of the message that we may get something like girl power or, something very, unclear like that. Or just hearts or flowers or, or something like that. And I think that we do need more directive statements, maybe, put on shirts or what, shirts in this case. But I do agree with you. I think there should be more definitive statements, maybe, for the girls. And that's part of the problem, is like, we don't really know. And I'm just wondering, where are those directives from women that have that information? It's like it's almost gone. It's like not out there. You have, most men kind of know instinctively what they're supposed to do, but the women are pretty much silent. We have little catchy little homegirl like slogans and things on T-shirts, but fierce and stuff like that, but no real messages. And so again, to agree with you and Brother Dietrich, I think it's important that the parent or the mother then steps in and says, clears this up a little bit to help her understand what her gifts are or, what her role is. I'm going to bring, 813 back in. I think the call had dropped and he's back. Peace, Anwar, are you there? Okay, he may have his mic muted. But feel free to come.
Can you hear?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah, I'm here.
Oh,
okay.
Well, I was just thinking, what if women connected to each other on a mother level? Like, if women were mothers, I'm just thinking, if you're a mother, you're going to do anything for your child, so why not connect with someone else like that? Like, do you think it's possible? Like, I wonder anybody else, what other people may think about it, because I'm just thinking, I think if women could connect as mothers, then, maybe that would start. If you cared about what's going to happen to your daughter, and you'll care about another woman's, daughter, and so on and so on. And if everyone cares about each other's daughter, then you got to care about each other, as far as women goes. Like, I know that might sound idealistic or whatever, but, I think that's amazing. I wish that we could do that.
Yeah, I think, that was the role. Like I said, when we had women's societies and things, traditionally in indigenous communities, that's what it was. It was like, that whole saying, it takes a village or whatever. But you had, groups of women who cared for every child in the community, or, had a saying. I've even, just in watching, different Nollywood movies. I was a Nollywood fan for a while, watching a lot of
Nollywood. What's Nollywood?
Nigerian movies. Instead of Hollywood, they call it Nollywood. So I'm watching a lot of those movies. You would see that no matter where these people went in the city, in the entire city of wherever they were, women of a certain age would be called. They would call all of them mother or iya, or something, or auntie. So it doesn't matter if it's your blood auntie or not. You're given, based on, they look at you, at I guess your age, or they could kind of tell, if she's an older woman, you address her as this. If it's a younger woman, you address her as that. So it's like that respect is given across the board, no matter where you are in the city. And I think here in the States, we have this attitude where you can't tell my child what to do. You're not this child's mother. We kind of take on that type of attitude instead of, like you said, maybe this woman does have something to offer, or maybe I'm coming up short in this department. Maybe she, it would be a good idea if she did listen. Even if, if the woman's message that she was given to the young girl, even if it was a good message, it's like some women are still very defensive about another woman telling their daughter or something, what to do.
Yes.
But
yes.
But you know what? I will say. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying I see that all the time. Like, anyway, I'll talk to you anyway. I see it all the time, Sister Kim, and it's just across the board. Whether your cousins, it's even in families. That's how bad it is. It's in families. You got sisters and cousins that grew together, and you can't say nothing to the other child. Or your grandparent can't say anything to her grandchild.
Right.
It's very sickening. And it's disgusting, and I just think, something has to change. And it's sick. I see it. But the Nollywood, though, in case somebody else got to come back in or something, you got a reference for the Nollywood? Because I really want to check that out.
Oh, you can just Google it or just go on YouTube.
Okay, I was going to ask you YouTube, because YouTube got it. Okay.
Just look up Nollywood movies. There's so many different there's so many of them. There are tons of them. You can just look them up on YouTube or whatever.
The only African movies. Go ahead. I was saying only African movies I've seen are the ones that when you go get your hair braided and baby watch it, but they're looking like soap opera.
Yeah, they are. They're very soap opera-ish. But some of them have like really good messages. You have some that are kind of, you'll see it Christian based, where they're talking about traditional ways versus Christianity. You have those that are soap opera-ish, but you have some that are really good too. So they cover like all grounds. You have some that are very traditional, so you can learn, some of this stuff when we're talking about orishas and things like that. They have a lot of those. Some in those you'll find you may have to have subtitles or something, but sometimes I like to just listen to it because you'll catch different words to help you learn the language a little bit more. I don't know, I'm nerdy like that. I like to watch foreign films. But
no, good idea. People learn differently. I like to try to. Anyway, that's a good idea. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. But to go back to your point about us being sensitive about other people telling our kids what to do and whatnot, you do still see it a little bit. I will say in church. When you have the church mothers or different women in church that may take care of your kids during the service or things like that, because the community is smaller and because people kind of know each other. So it does still exist on a smaller scale. But yeah, we get extra sensitive about that. But traditionally, I will agree with you. That's kind of what was done. There, everybody is auntie or grandma or whatever. If for the most part in other countries, even when you start to learn different languages, I think it exists in English, but in other countries, you have male and female greetings, or how you should greet an older person, how you should greet a younger person. So those boundaries are still respected in language a lot too. I'm going to bring in another caller, 201. Peace.
Peace, everybody. Peace.
Greetings, Chief.
There was a point I felt that was important to be made in all of this, in addressing the clip and addressing the subject. And primarily, the question that people who are watching it and commenting on it need to ask yourselves first is, does this mother and daughter live in the same truth that you live in? Number one. And the owners and purveyors and marketers of Target, do they live in the same truth that you live in? Because I heard the script and I could tell straight off the bat that it was completely scripted. So you're having a conversation about something that this grown woman wrote for her daughter to say. And you could hear it when she was saying, okay, and then what else? And then how does that make you feel? I mean, this wasn't a random video. But ultimately, you should begin with this. Okay, these are the people who own Target. And are we looking to Target to find how we express our gender laws for male and female? Then what's all that noise in the background?
I think that's the first. I'm going to mute our mic.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's important to look at that before you start to say, well, yeah, this is what happens with women. This is what happens with men. When you're looking at someone marketing and promoting something that's not even in your community. And the truth is, this is part of the dangers of media, because you can take one moment and you can immediately insert yourself into the center of that moment, insert yourself with an emotional attachment to the moment, and it has nothing to do with you. And it may not even be truth, just because some little out-of-pocket, because the little girl's out-of-pocket, some little out-of-pocket girl stands up for this, and why don't you do this? I mean, come on. And she was fresh. Let's look at, if we want to take a look at the society that Target lives inside of, and we look at the greater American society, there is a strong push towards feminism and gynocentrism. And those representations are very strong. I mean, you can just look at movies. You take Legally Blonde, the Stepford Wives that came out like in the 70s, Mulan, Fried Green Tomatoes, Thelma and Louise, Set It Off, Color Purple, North Country, Clueless, Legally Blonde. I mean, we could just go and go and go and go. So this idea of And even on TV, you see that now with the female heroine. It's a very strong theme that's been going on since the early 90s. You know, Demi Moore was even, what was it, Army Jane or something like G.I. Jane?
G.I. Jane.
Something like that. So this idea of, you know, well, women, all we get is, girls, we just get, hey, that's total bullcrap. Hannah Montana, Dora the Explorer, you know, and the boys get all these long days. Actually, they don't. We're in a society where that's not happening, and that's women are given instructions more than males are. And as far as like, well, men kind of just instinctively know what to do. No, not at all. What men do is they seek out information. If they want to work on their car, they go find somebody who knows how to work on cars. They ask questions. They apprentice. They take classes on financial management. If they want girls, they read books by pickup artists. They want to figure out how to dress. They get subscriptions to GQ. You know, men tend to be a bit more adventurous when it comes to educating themselves so they can put themselves in a higher stratus, in a higher position. You know, and I'm not saying that women should take on that quality, but certainly women who are saying, well, there's no, you know, like we have this statement that's said a lot, even in the conscious community, and it's the elders have failed us. The elders didn't really pass anything down. They didn't set things up. But you know, no one owes you anything. How often are we, as the younger generation, or even those who are griping about it, going out and asking questions? How many, you know, we say young girls need instructions. How many young girls are getting cookbooks to figure out how to cook, or parenting books to figure out how to parent, or prenatal books to figure out how to have a healthier pregnancy, or home design books to figure out how to properly manage a home, or even financial books to figure out proper economic domestic management? And then versus the ones that are just sitting back saying, well, my mom didn't tell me nothing. My auntie didn't tell me nothing. You know, so you got to kind of be careful with that a lot of times with these little YouTube clips and all of that stuff like that, and people putting something out as if it's the absolute, because a lot of times they're lying, and it's a part of a different kind of agenda. You know, we have this one little isolated moment, and I guarantee you, if you scratch that for a second and really think about really just listen to how the little girl was talking, number one. If you just do that, number one, you'll realize that it wasn't even a real clip. That's number one. You know, it's like the clip that came out of some years back with the couple at the gas station, and they had the little camera. I don't know if you guys saw that clip, and they started singing, and they were playing around at the gas station. And I mean, that clip went all over social media, and people were like, oh, you know, this is a beautiful relationship. I wish I had a marriage like this. And then it came out later that these two were actors. And
oh, yeah, I remember that. Mm-hmm.
Remember that one? But like 3 days ago, one of my students, I saw a post on their social media wall. This is a true romance. I wish I could only wish to have a marriage like this. You see, like, so don't be so easily fooled by the nonsense. Your spirituality and your magic is supposed to activate the first eye so you can see the bull crap coming a mile away. The clip is bull crap. It's total. It's garbage. And to now formulate opinions, like to have these long in-depth conversations around garbage, is exactly what this society does. It's a total distraction. It's a complete total distraction. And now we're discussing what are the roles? Should the roles be this or should the roles be that? The truth is, the roles are already defined before your sex was created. You know, the important thing to understand is that prior to your sex comes your gender. And your gender then creates a sexual disposition. So a lot of times people think that sex and gender are synonymous. It's not true. Okay, so when your gender creates your sex, it's creating it with a purpose. It's creating it for a reason. I'm going to be this. And gender is akin to the word generate. To generate something, to produce something. So I use my gender as a form of production. And then I use my sex for the tools that come with that sex. And a lot of times, we don't take time to discover the sex. What is it to be a woman? What is it? Why did I pick to be this? Why did I pick to be a man? What tools come along with it? And that comes through self-exploration, and that comes through inquest of the elders, and like I think Tasha said earlier, the ancestors, but tapping into those energies around you. A lot of us don't take that serious enough to actually discover and search and explore it. So I want to just put that in perspective, and trust me, there is no lack, in particular, of the Caucasian female heroine in American society. It's all over the place. All over the place. You can just check out, like I said, some of the movies. There was a movie that came out some years ago, Women Without Men. You know what I mean? What movie have we had men without women? It's all over the place. So don't fall for that. Don't fall for that. Trust me. That's garbage. All right, I'm gonna bring it back. Still there?
I was about to get off, but yeah, I remember that movie. I think it was No Men Beyond This Point was the name of the film that you were talking about.
That's a different one. There's two of them.
Oh, okay.
There's No Men Without Women, yeah. And then
okay. Another one. Okay.
And that theme, that Amazonian theme, they've been kicking that since the 60s. So don't believe the hype.
Well, beyond just gender, and right now we're speaking about male and female. What are some ways that we kind of ignore this in other things in creation? Like I was saying earlier, you have male and female herbs, the way we combine food, just the way we approach other things, because sometimes we get into the whole gender thing quite easily, where we can talk about men and women, but that gender is expressed throughout all of creation. And that's kind of what I really wanted to get into a little bit, was that when you talk about manifestation, how and even especially in rituals and things like that, how we're not knowledgeable on just combining or recognizing the different polarities in, like I said, just breathing or herbs or whatever it is that we're dealing with outside of just being a man or a woman.
Right. See, the man or the woman, that conversation is dealing with sex. Okay, so that's the conversation you're saying that people caught up in. That's the sexual aspect. The gender aspect, people don't even talk about. That's the part where the problem is. That's the part where we're missing. Within the realm of gender is the realm of purpose creation. And we miss it a lot of times because we don't go beneath the surface. Man and woman, or male and female, that's the surface. And the vibration that lies underneath that surface is gender. That's what we don't accept. So there are certain identifications when we're dealing with gender. So for instance, we have the qualities of negative, we have the qualities of positive. And a lot of times we immediately associate those to male and female, which is kind of okay, but we miss a lot in that. A strong move is to learn the science of the pole. That helps you to understand the gender and why certain genders choose certain sexual assignments. There's a science to it. Like, for instance, in the metaphysical community, a lot of times we'll say negative polarity or we'll say positive polarity. Those are typically the words that we use. But when you start to study the just electromagnetics or thermodynamics, they don't really use negative as much. They use the term cathode. So cathode is what we would consider to be negative, but the key about cathode, you have cathode and you have positive. And cathoid is dealing with things that descend. So it's not just things that are weaker or things that are feminine or dark or whatever, but it's the dissension. And the dissension relates to something that's going back to a source. It's going back to the source of where that creation piece is. So if we speak about feminine gender or cathodic gender or negative gender, it's really dealing with more ancestral reality. If we're dealing with positive, and if we want to relate the positive to the male, which we really don't have to, but if we want to do that, then of course it would be dealing with an electrical phenomenon that sends it more towards the arranging of things, the arranging of energy. So sometimes we miss what's really going on with the genders because we're so focused on the after product. The after product is man and woman, but you gotta go underneath, and you gotta go underneath the gender. And once you get, like, if you could even look at the Hermetic law, the seventh law of Hermetics is gender. So in that, it's not speaking about how men and women deal with each other. It's talking about how differentiated energies come together to make something else, and then they do that with great multiplication. So, for instance, everyone here on the phone has parents. You have a male parent, you have a female parent, and everyone here on the phone has 4 grandparents. Everyone here on the phone has 8 great-grandparents. See, so the laws of gender are really dealing with the laws of dissension, because that would be how you would descend. Your grandparents, your parents, great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents, so forth and so on. That's the vibration of, if you want to translate it later, to the feminine, to the woman. She's supposed to be going and studying the lineage. One of the reasons why our lineage was matrilineal. That's where her instructions come from. Men get their instructions by going out and trying to figure it out. But instinctively, the feminine energy or the feminine gender has more information. It has more instincts already within it, but those instincts are distorted when it seeks to ascend instead of descend. So when it seeks to go out and be adventurous, instead of going deeper in the ancestral pool, it loses its instinct. And then later it says, well, why aren't the mothers teaching us something? Why aren't the aunts teaching us something? Because that's not how you get it. You get it through ascension. You said? Yeah, I know Sister Kim is moving around. So I'm going to bring some people in.
I was listening.
I'm on the back. Okay. So I got you here, Carissa. Okay, cool. Oh, and there was another brother. I'll bring everybody. I'm going to work it back in.
Hello?
Brother Dietrich. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Hello? Yeah, everyone can come in as they will. I would just ask that if you're not speaking, just put your phone on mute so the noise doesn't go crazy. Yeah, so everyone can add on as need be.
Greetings. Well, it's cool that Chief, greetings, Chief. How are you?
Chief, things are okay today. Yeah, things are okay. How about you?
Great, man. Thank you for your wisdom, man. I would like to add on to, or put a comment inside of it. Is that it's great that you speak on how the roles of ascension and ascension work in dealing with the male and the female identities, characteristics. Because we're like at the beginning of the show, we were speaking on the holistic view of our magic. And what's happening is that we get all these distractions about male roles, female roles in society, and it breaks us off of our focus of manifesting the things that we need for our communities, for our families, for ourselves. And it's important to really diagnose or look at the characteristics of everything that we're going through when we're dealing with our manifestation and what we're trying to manifest. Like I was saying earlier, is that we need to keep a overall holistic view of everything that we're doing in order for us to really see the work that needs to be done and what needs to occur for whatever thoughts, ideas, instances, situations that we might do a ritual or something to get accomplished for us. Like I was speaking on the money situation because it's what I'm dealing with. But more like, let's say, if we're trying to generate a healthy family, what is the things that are we doing right now that's negating or getting us to a point where we're not having a healthy family, or we're feeding them a whole bunch of oily, greasy foods on a daily basis, a whole bunch of starch, you know? So we I think us as people, when we look at what we're trying to accomplish and what we're trying to meet, or the goal that we're trying to get into, quote unquote, we should look in a holistic view on the overall of what is not being done and what is supposed to be being done, what direction we have to go into, or what we need to take in.
Okay, well, let's look at it again from a scientific perspective. Again, dealing just with the laws of gender. When you're dealing with the laws of gender, you have female particles or cathode particles that detach from typically a greater male particle and join another male particle to create a new substance. So to put it in plain language, you could look at it like a girl who leaves her father's home and gets married and has children. Okay, so that's we're dealing with hermetics now, and hermetics are, you know, coming again from Tahuti, which is a Romula and the Yoruba. So we're dealing with sacred spiritual principles, but also these are scientific principles that govern, or really that document how energy moves. So when we talk about what we should do or what we could do, be men that women are able to attach to. Okay, and again, we're dealing with the laws there. Remember that the feminine particle leaves the masculine particle, joins another masculine particle, and in fact, when it does that, it begins to vibrate really quickly. It vibrates, and then it encircles that particle. So picture it like this: you got a man standing there, or a stick. You got a stick standing there by itself. Then you have this female boa constrictor that comes along, that just left her papa boa constrictor, and it wraps around the stick. It totally encircles it, and it creates a new organism. So that's where you get the idea that, well, we all have masculine and feminine, and that's where that comes from. So then once that happens, you know, even when you look at the symbol of Ra, Ra is a circle with a dot in the middle. Dot is that masculine sun presence, that middle point, and the circle, the greater aspect, is the feminine. So it's, you know, Kemites knew how particle theory worked prior to, you know, today. But so the thing is, we have to be men that women can naturally attach to. You know, like a lot of times, we speak about how women don't listen and they're rebellious and this and that. And of course, these movies like the ones I listed, you know, they help to contribute to that. But as men, we have to look at it like this. I don't necessarily have a problem with a woman not listening to me. You're going to listen or you're going to get away from me. That's it. There's no choice. It's not up for debate. This is not co-leadership or co-governance. If you don't listen to me, something must be wrong with you. That's my take on it, because I know 99.9% of the time I'm on point. Now, when we can get to that point where we can say, you know what, we're moving strong, we're moving with wisdom, we're moving like men, then the women can encircle us and say, man, I can be all a part of this. I can be all about this right here. As opposed to standing from a distance and trying to tell them, trying to instruct them, from a distance. Hey, maybe you should do this. Maybe you should do that. Maybe you should. Of course, she's going to say, no, I'm not doing it. You know, so I know it sounds almost simplistic, but when you hear me say a lot of times, it starts with the men. Because once the men stand firm on their square as what they're supposed to be, you don't have to really do much talking. You don't have to do much convincing. You don't have to do any of that. It's like Sister Tasha said, her husband went down and boom, this is the plan, boom, 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 boom. He set things up. So all she had to do was arrive and encircle that house in her feminine energy. All right, we're going to get the plants, we're going to get the curtains, we're going to that's her encircling. And she, and doing that, she changed the environment, but he established the framework first. And movable, hard protocol framework, because this is the house. There's no, you get here and then, oh, well, babe, if you want a different one, we'll get a different. No, this is the house. So you make of it what you need to make of it. And honestly, that's what it needs to be right now. I'm telling you, I know it sounds a little tough, and I know it sounds like it's dropping everything into the laps of the men, but this stage of creation, this stage of manifestation, it's on the men, you know, and then the women come later.
It's funny that you say that, man, because that's kind of one of the hardest things that me as a person, as a man, has dealt with, is initialization. And I like to initialize things, you know, and I'm just going to be just blunt, I guess, real about it, is that I don't like to put no blame to nobody, nothing. I'm not putting blame on it. I'm just going to say the statement, express it the way I can, is that, like, let's say I want to initialize things, but it seems like I get battered and bruised with all types of situations that come my way dealing with me trying to initialize them. When it comes down to money,
nah.
I'm trying to express it the right way. So,
nah, you're a dude. What's supposed to happen?
I'm supposed to initialize.
You're supposed to get beat up, battered, and bruised. That's supposed to happen. Screw it. You keep going. We're men.
Right.
You get hit, we keep playing. We fall out of a tree. How many times when you was trying to learn how to wheelie your bike as a kid, you bust your behind and fell backwards?
Multiple times.
See what I'm saying? But you saw your best friend could wheelie, the big kids could wheelie their bike all the way down the whole street, and you did not want to be the kid who couldn't wheelie, because if you couldn't wheelie your bike, you might as well put a basket on in front of it and be a girl.
Right.
So you went through whatever you had to go through to make sure, I'm wheeling this bike. And then, you know, when you found the girl that you liked, what's the first thing you did? Wheelie your bike in front of her to show off.
Mm-hmm.
To let her know, I'm that dude. I'm that dude. Watch this. You see? No. Forget that. We all got those, we got beat up, battered, and bruised stories, man. And that's why it's important for men to discuss amongst men those things. Because a woman will say, yeah, me too, it's rough, but our story is not her story. A man will tell you, man, you know, you can get over that. You all right? You know, you can get through that. You're going to get beat up and battered and bruised. And the problem is the longer men take to do it, the harder it's going to be, because we're being encircled and enshrouded by this sick system. And the longer we take, the thicker and stronger it gets. You see? So
right.
You got to keep pushing through it. And it only takes a little pinhole to seep through for some light to get through. For the other brothers to see, he did it. That's the way to go. Let's go. Everybody, come on. See?
Right.
But through all of that, show me your bruise story, man. You know what I mean?
Right.
Through all of that. That's gonna happen because you currently live in a battleground. I mean, heck, you live in Florida.
Probably could have got that one, Jones.
They're killing people wholesale in Florida. Our people wholesale. So we're on a battleground, man. If you pick your head up out of the foxhole, somebody's going to shoot at your helmet. That's just what we're at.
Right. I was stating that because I'm a fighter. I'm a fighter myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna fight through my pops. I always look at everything in a matter where if, like, even right now, I'm driving with like a couple strings on my belt in my car, I'm driving to go to the store to go get that thing fixed. I'm gonna go home and put that belt on my car. And even though I'm going through a whole bunch of issues dealing with finances, I know what I gotta get done. You know what I'm saying? I said that because I think a lot of men seem to get into a position. Once they see that problem come down the road, they look at the problem and put themselves in a box. And I've done that in the past. You know what I'm saying? I've done that in the past. Like within the last 5 years, I've done that where I got put into a corner and I didn't fight back. Okay. And I think what's helped me has been fighting back. As soon as I get in that corner, you get at your most ferocious because you're at your last string. And
when did you figure that out? When did you figure that gem of wisdom out?
Man, I probably figured, like I said, for the last 3-4 years, but still, I'm still fighting it.
You're still working on it, but you know it now, right?
Right.
Okay, so the moment that epiphany came to you, that's when you grew up. And I know you're 30 or close to 30. I know you're around there.
I'm 39.
You're 39. Okay, so let's say 30, 35, 36. That's when you grew up.
Yep.
See? So it's those. Now you would have gotten it sooner, of course. Yeah, if an older man had said, "Look, man, this is what's going to happen," boom, 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 boom. But that was your moment. That I define my reality. I don't care what comes down the lane. I'm a steam train, and nothing's going to stop me. I'm gonna push through this because I have a mission that I have to accomplish. See, and that's what I'm telling you. We go back to the relationship aspect and what we're manifesting versus not manifesting. That's why the women go for the thug, because the thug says, "I'm going to be ignorant to the day I die. I don't care what you try to tell me." And she may not enjoy that aspect of it. She enjoys the fact that he's directed, that nothing's going to stop him no matter what comes in his way. He's going to maintain his thuggish culture. But a lot of us, we have too many options. Like men that are in the conscious community and whatnot, we always have the option to go pray. We got the option to go do some yoga or do a ritual in the dark somewhere or something like that, instead of being confrontational. And then when we are confrontational, we don't confront the source of the issue. We start talking about the women. The women ain't no good. And then we start talking about people of other religions. Well, the Hebrew Israelites are the problem. The Muslims are the problem. So who's doing all that crunching, man? What is that? So we start getting into all of these things where we're dancing around the actual source of our misery, the actual source of our challenge. You see, so even like with this little girl's not even talking. That's her mother. That's the script. You know, that's not the source issue. All right, I'm going to have to meet some of y'all, man. I don't know, this is you, Dietrich, because Dietrich, you always have a bunch of action on the background. Let's see. Yep, of course, Dietrich. Okay, so, Dietrich, I don't know, man. It's like, I notice that every show, man. Like, I don't know what he's doing to it, but it's like he's on a ranch or something somewhere, like, you know, lassoing sheep and goats. But, yeah, man, it's the source of the issues which you got to get to, and that will allow you to stand erect much sooner. A lot of times as men, we diversify ourselves with a myriad of distractions, and then we complain about the distraction later. If you understood that the only way for you to create and manifest something of quality with another quality of an individual would require you first to form the highest and loftiest principles within yourself as a man initially, it would change the whole game and how we move. If you think about this, and I know I keep taking it back to relationships, but that's because it's what people understand. Men attract women because of their independence. Women attract men because of their dependence. So, you know, when a woman says to you, "I don't need you, I don't need anybody," well, we don't want them. Not only do we not want them, we don't even need them. We don't even want them at that point. But when a man tells a woman, I need you. I can't live without you. She doesn't like him anymore. You know, when he's a bit distant, you know, maybe even aloof, and he's directed completely on his mission and nothing's deterring him, then she wants him even more. You see, because ultimately women are the hunters anyway. So they want to hunt for men. They want that you know, but this society has flipped it upside down. They got you thinking that you're supposed to hunt for women. You're supposed to hunt for success. And women are attracted to that. You know, they'll hunt the man who's hunting success. See? So a lot of times, again, when we say, like, what should we do? What should we do? It's not really a we thing, like, what should men and women do? A lot of this is on the men. A lot of it starts there because you're not even giving the women good game to hunt for. You know, a lot of these guys are thirsty. You know, they're just walking around and chasing every woman that they see, and the women are bored by that. You know, so those moments of growing up, those moments of maturation will come differently for different people. But I'm telling you, as men, you have to form that greatness in yourself first. You know, it's like the sun. Like I said, the sun is an independent phenomenon. The sun doesn't need Earth. The sun doesn't need the moon. It may enjoy viewing its reflection, but if the sun shifts just a few degrees, it could be an ice age. It'll knock the whole universe out of whack. Now, the same can't be said for the planet. So if you liken yourself, men, to the sun as that masculine principle, and let's say the woman is a planet or Earth or she's moon or whatever, she needs you to sustain life. You don't need her, but you want her. And again, I've said this before, but people who are so hung up on that need-want term, we tend to put a greater intensity of feeling into things that we want than things that we need. We'll buy the chocolate candy bar before we'll buy a piece of lettuce. You know, because we want the chocolate, or I want some candy cans, or I just want. But what do you need? You know, so wants can be an overpowering force, and when men are driven, or males are driven by their wants, they put themselves in a space where it's very feminine. And it's hard for the females, it's hard for them to see who they are and what they are, because they don't know or have anything to circle around. It goes back to, again, that understanding of how particles come together. You know, they have nothing to circle around.
I just had an experience with my older son too, and his mother, and I've been trying to get my older son to get up out the nest and out of kind of like you said, go out there and find the problems and solve them, and initialize stuff. And I had to tell his mother, like, you know what? She called me about a situation. I told him, I don't need to be talking to you about a situation that he's having. And I still haven't heard from my son about stuff. He called me, didn't even address the situation. So I'm sitting here like, you have to talk to me about something that you have a situation for. And as a father, I'm looking at his mother trying to do the things that he's supposed to be taking responsibility for. You know what I'm saying? And my advice to him was like, look, you need to handle these situations. This is your stuff. You need to go out there and learn how to solve this problem. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Why? What for? Why does he need to do that?
Because he's a man. It's his experience. It's going to be his direction into gaining the responsibility, gaining the things that he has to do as a man to make sure that he builds his foundation correctly. My advice.
But where does he live right now?
He lives with his mom.
And how old is he?
He's 18.
So why does he have to do any of that stuff?
And that's the point where I'm trying to tell
he eats
his
every
mom.
day, right? He's got food. He's got a roof over his head. So all of that, you need to do this so you can be a man. That ain't nobody trying to hear that.
Right. And that was my point. I was trying to tell to his mother, and she took it as me trying to argue. But I was just straight up telling her, like, look, he needs to figure things out for himself now. He is not a 6-year-old boy where he needs nurturing from his mother at this point. He grew out of that at 13.
Okay, do you and the boy's mother live in the same truth? Like, do you practice the same understanding?
No.
Okay, so then you can't get anywhere with that. You can get nowhere with that. The thing is, she would have to look at you and say, I want this boy to be like you. That's number one. And then you have to say, okay, well, in order for him to be like me, because see, if that was my son, I drop him off at a shelter. Here, man, you're going to go take a spirit walk. You know, here's a shelter. I'd give him some raw bars, there's some raw fruit bars, bottle of water, peace. You know, he'll figure it out. He'll work it out, you know. Now, in order to do something so radical, that mother would have to have that measure of not only faith and trust in you, but the desire for that young man to walk in your footsteps. If that's not present, it's a completely uphill battle. And if he's not motivating and moving, there's nothing you can do.
Right.
Because he's an adult. He may be an adult boy, but he's an adult at this point. So nothing short. With me and my children, it's like we're very physical. So when talking, you know, when I'm unable to say something, I just yoke them up, you know. So they understand, like, there's always that physical threat, you know. And I'm the alpha. No one can beat me. So as long as no one can beat me, at the end of the day, you know, I'm going to put my hands around your neck. If you don't have that, and the mother would be like, if you touch my son, it's a wrap, man. It's a wrap. Whatever the boy's going to be, it's going to be. You can't do anything about that.
And that's been one of my issues dealing with him, because I hold that same situation with my son. Like, and that's the reason why he runs and hides behind his mom when he has to deal with a situation with me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I feel you on what you're saying about that.
Yeah, sometimes you got to know. Sometimes, you know, things don't work out with the parent of your child, and you have to divorce yourself from your child. You know, sometimes your children, and it's sad, I know we don't like to talk like that, but sometimes your children are collateral damage. And, you know, they pose more of a threat and a liability to you than they do an asset. I mean, children are supposed to be assets if you bring them up and rear them properly. But sometimes you got to be able to say, man, I didn't do right by this one. I didn't rear this one properly. This one came out bad. And I can only hope that at some point, you know, they wake up into something that makes sense and so forth and so on. But as a man, I'm threatening the economy that's needed for maybe my other children by chasing this one who's going to just have me go into deep waters and leave me there. You know, anytime you're in a situation and, you know, you have children by a woman who, or a man for that matter, primarily a woman, it's different. But if she's not invested in your culture and in your way, you can't really do anything, because this country that we live in provides too many incentives for a woman not to listen to a man. So you can't really get around that too much, you know. Got to mate wisely, ultimately. I'm going to see if Dietrich is now in a quiet place. Dietrich, you there, or you still moving around?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, you making a lot of noises. That's why we muted you.
Oh, no problem. But I was listening at the program, and I was thinking about, you know, as far as the situation, as far as myself, and how I was reared, how my whole concept of masculinity was skewed from the jump. And like the little girl was saying, she was talking about she don't see the sense, and I can see, you know, when I first heard it, my spirit told me that somebody put her up to it, because her mama was cheerleading too much. So when you said that was staged, I can believe that 100%, because to me the mother sounded like she was trying to either piss her daddy off, or she was just she was saying something that she couldn't say. And when the little girl had on the karate outfit, I know that they have, boys and girls sparring together. So she just on this kick where, like Sister Kim said, like, what about girls? What about us? But when you look at Nickelodeon and Disney Channel, all of the major actors are girls. So it's really deeper than that,
Right.
So
exactly.
Like the channel, I remember
the Taekwondo gi. Don't just look at it like that's not haphazard. First of all, for those of you who have taken martial and never have taken them, it's something you should understand. You're not supposed to wear your gi outside of the dojo. That's a big no-no. Okay? So a lot of times when you see like these little kids walking around and going inside of karate, got the gi on. Nah, I mean, obviously I came up in a different era, but you got physically punished for doing stuff like that in the era I came up. So when you see like, okay, this little girl, she's got a taekwondo gi on, and she's doing this, it's supposed to give you the impression that, oh, this was haphazard. She was just coming from martial arts, and we just saw this. And no, typically you're not wearing a gi outside like that anyway. But why couldn't she change real quick before she shot the video? They were trying to make something very clear to you. That was a part of the outfit. That was a part of the program. All of that stuff you have to kind of pay attention to. And I think I saw a clip. I haven't actually seen the clip, but I saw like a still image of it. And I saw, I think she had a green belt on and whatnot, but there's a whole image that's being promoted there. Like, again, like you said, maybe she's trying to get back at the father, because why not have the father standing there? And, ask him, well, Dad, why don't they put these things on there for the boys? And then ask the mother, well, why do they put these things on here for the girls? Or, or vice versa, whatever. So that was clearly agenda-based. And like I said, we got to be able to see beyond some of that nonsense. Like, that's why you're practicing spirituality at the frequency and at the depth that you are, so that you are not, you're moving beyond the ignorance of the average citizen's black slave. Don't be moved by all that nonsense. See the wizardry inside of it, because doing all of that's the act of a wizard. They're trying to shift your consciousness. I did the show on the wizards. The wizards, the warrior, and the priest. And the wizard always wants to shift the consciousness. They don't care if the point gets through to you. Like, if you look at people who are, for instance, pushing Eurocentric, archaic Christianity, right? The goal is not to make you believe that Jesus died for your sins. That's not really what it's about. It's about shifting your consciousness into a way of thinking. So now when these other elements come forth, when you see a mother and child, you immediately, associate mother and child with Mary and Jesus. And this is something that's sacred, and now you need to listen and regard it as a certain thing and whatnot like that. And of course, the father or the man is always invisible. You never see him, because we can't see God the Father, but his son. You got to kind of pay attention to that. A lot of this is magic wizardry, and they're really playing with your consciousness. But go ahead, brother. I'm sorry. I know that was a long introduction.
May I speak?
Sure thing.
I'm having y'all men talking. I just want to find my space. But as everybody's talking and you're talking, I just keep on thinking, like, as far as women, sometimes I think women don't see, feminine, and not in that Western way, but, just everything from what I hear from you and sources like you, is that they don't really know, you don't know what it means to really be feminine or divine in the feminine. And I'm not claiming that I know, but I'm speaking to know.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't think there's any power in that, because, it's like you do live in a man's world, and what you see is men get this, men get that, and men, they get to do everything. They say go, and, I once upon a time identify with it, but like I said, I'm like seeking this new way. So I think that's like a major issue with women. Like, if you really learned what it's like to be a woman. So I'm very interested in hearing when Sister Kaya finished up her big project, what she comes out or how it manifests. But I think that if you really understood. Go ahead.
Carissa, you don't even have to really understand to look at society and see the effeminization of the male energy. It's like that's the slickness of the wizardry. It's happening right in front of your face. Like Brother Dietrich, or I think it was Anwar said it earlier, like, yeah, you look at mainly Disney, Nickelodeon characters, they're females. So there's like this underlying, it's like how America says we're a Christian country, and you're supposed to turn the other cheek, but if they feel threatened, they'll just bomb the heck out of somebody, right? So say one thing and do another. So we're going to say that this is a male-dominated society, but the truth is it's not.
Can I say something to you?
Sure.
I once heard this woman, like a while back, doing this, she had a speech, and I believe she was talking about Het Heru, and I can't exactly remember, how it correlates, but what she was saying is that white men, that run the world are really jealous and wish they were a black woman. Like, is there, like, would you say there's truth to that?
I don't know. I'd have to ask a white man.
Okay.
Because that sounds like another propaganda statement. That's like a statement like, well, everybody wants to be like the black woman. Just look at them. They tanning their skin and doing this and putting collagen in their lips. Well, not necessarily. So, you got to be careful of the sources sometimes. It's very easy to say that. It's like I could say as a black man, I got the biggest penis of any man on the planet. Everybody knows that black men are packing. Well, it's a black man saying it. So of course I'm gonna put myself in that position. For all I know, Bulgarian men or men in the Himalayas, maybe the Guinness Book Records records it, So you gotta be careful with some of those statements sometimes like that. Sometimes it's propaganda. And I'm not saying it's untrue. And I could sit here right now and break down to you how it probably is true, but you could break down things in a lot of different directions and still be off.
Okay.
So I'd be careful with statements. But I would say this to you, like when you're saying, well, women don't really know about femininity, you're waiting for Sister Taya's report. How many books do you have on your bookshelves about the power of the womb?
Ooh, like I have one that's just, safe with woman that's specifically on that, but I have things about reproductive system and herbs and, stuff like that, but, just spiritually, it's one I can think of off the top, safe with woman.
And that was written by a man, right?
It's not written by Queen Phil?
Phil Valentine wrote that book and gave it to her.
Oh, wow.
So we'll go back to, again, just like think about how proactively you are hunting down the understanding of your own femininity. Like you say, I got one book. So it's like when we say like, well, women don't know this, and I'm not just using you as the, as a scapegoat, but a lot of times when we say we don't know this, or we don't know this, or know that, I'll turn around and say, well, like, how hard are you trying to know it? Like, how much work are you putting into that? Like, how much information do you have about your own mental? What do you know about your own breast? And, things that at least aesthetically help us to see that there's a woman here. I'm going to bring a call in. You can still build on it. Sure. 804 area code, go ahead.
Greetings, Chief.
Peace. I think you called earlier. Yeah.
I called, I was in Home Depot and then had to pay, and I didn't want to be, disrespectful.
Oh, okay.
I'm just kind of coming back in. I had a question before. I think when you were talking about, why we shouldn't have paid any attention to the video and how it was propaganda, and it kind of led me to think about another aspect of of the question of manifestation and gender. I remember there was a pataki that you broke down a long time ago, probably. I don't really know the date, but it was in reference to Boa and Ogun. And so it made me think about how the pot itself, I think you went in and you kind of talked about how the pot was actually a womb or a space, a space of ownership. And I'm thinking about that, and I'm also thinking about the role that women would play in manifestation, or the role that gender plays in manifestation. I think that I don't even really know what the question is. I think it's either gender or women. And I wanted to see if you could maybe elaborate on that a little bit as it relates to the pataki, maybe.
How the role that gender plays in manifestation. I guess the holding of a space, or the role. I think that's the question for today, or maybe it's not maybe there is no question for today. But that's that's kind of what came to mind when you were speaking earlier, along with, I guess, the question that was posed earlier. Well, gender is how all things are produced, but there's different stages of production. And a lot of times, like there was a brother called in, I think it was this show, or it might have been a Sunday show, and he was like, yeah, everything is gender. Like, you put your key into your car and turn the ignition, and that's sexual. I think he was saying something like that. But the truth is, like, there's an active process that occurs prior to what we kind of see or experience. Like, for instance, in the world of the scene, when it comes to creation, we see that the male is more active than the female. We always see the female as kind of like whether it's the pot, it's the dude or odu or the calabash. It's something that's open and has space, and the space, of course, represents the potential, for something to be there, and it's kind of waiting, and then it's stirred and stimulated by the by the masculine element. But dealing with the laws of duality and the unseen world, even scientific perspective, it's really the feminine element that's actually more active in the creation process, because it's more so that the male element is sitting there, it's waiting, and the feminine element encases it. And the feminine element actually vibrates faster than the male element. There's like there's a duality of manifestation. Here on the planet, the women are a bit more still, in the unseen or another dimension. And we can say the cellular level is another dimension, because that's what we're talking about. We could call that unseen, but of course, with a microscope, you can see it, But the fifth dimension, you can see with just some drumming and some herbs, So everything has the potential to be seen. Technically, there's really no seen and unseen. But like on a cellular level, it's the converse complement, wherein in the feminine is more active and the masculine is more still. So you see that gender plays a role, just in terms of like there being a give and take, a push and pull, depending on what realm and where we're at manifesting. The video with the little girl, right? We're talking about they're in the middle of Target. I didn't create Target. I didn't create the idea of Target. Heck, the logo is a symbol of Ra. I mean, the logo deals with what we're talking about, but I didn't create that. So in that world, and let's say if that world of Target, let's say that's synonymous with American society. In American society, there is a way that things are created and formed and manifested. Okay. Outside of American society, in another society, things would be formed and created and manifested in a different way. You see? So like here, for a lot of us, like if we think about sitting at home and watching movies and Netflix or whatever, as men, we wouldn't necessarily look at it like, oh, a nice night would be sitting on a sofa with my woman's arms wrapped around. You know, like I don't want that. I don't even like women when I'm driving to put your hand around the top of my headrest. I don't like how it feels. You know, but for women, a lot of times they want to be encased and encircled in that masculine energy. You see, but in another dimension, it's the exact opposite. You know, or even in the unseen dimension of pregnancy, you might have a male child that's encased and wrapped in a female encasement. You know, so the laws of gender are mutable, but once there's a manifestation of sex, that gives us a certain path. So the laws of gender, male and female principle, or positive and cathode principles coming together, can generate male or can generate female. You know, once we have a manifestation of a human body. You see, but gender is a lot more dynamic and mutable than people imagine. And it's not just, oh, negative is female and they do this, positive is masculine. It doesn't work like that when you're dealing with gender. It's worth studying.
Okay. Appreciate it.
All right. So, peace. All right, Carissa, did you have more you wanted to add? Or anyone else, Tasha, whatever, because we're getting ready to close out.
Well, I just want to. Oh.
Carissa or Tasha?
No, I'm good. Go ahead, Tasha. I'm thinking.
No, you good, Carissa? No. We called.
No. Go ahead.
Okay, you know the brothers jumped all in. How about you, Tasha?
Look, I'm like Carissa. The men started talking. I was like, well, I'm going to go and clean my tub and listen real quick.
Oh, goodness. Come on now. Come on. Yeah.
But no,
so Kim goes to do nothing. So if Kim is not here, basically, y'all don't want nothing to do with us.
No.
So Kim is the alpha. He's the silverback.
No. I know y'all was definitely dropping some serious jewels. And my husband was listening as well.
Okay, cool.
I just wanted to go back to the part when Brother Anwar was talking about his son and, you know, how he was having, you know, I guess a disagreement between him and, you know, the mother of his son. And we're kind of going through the same thing, but of course we're together in dealing with this boy. And I agree with you, Chief, in saying that, you know, sometimes I'm not going to say that he's a bad kid. I think he's just probably going through what teenage boys, what I would imagine, are going through right now. But it's just at a point where for the most part, you know, he's kind of checked out and he's like, you know, I'm young and, you know, this is what I'm doing and this is what it is. And, you know, like I shared earlier in the show, my husband was like, okay, well, you know what? You don't want to abide by the rules of this house. Pack a bag, a small bag, because you're not going to take all the stuff that I paid for, just enough to get you through, and you can be gone. You know, and of course, I'm like, no. You know, like, he's out there now, and I can't see him, and what if something happens? And, you know, so I backed off, but, you know, in the background, I'm like, no, please don't do it, you know. And I think it's difficult to come to that conclusion, like you said, Chief, that sometimes you do have to fall back. You know, he's about to be 17, and at that point, like you said a few times, you know, they're their own person. And whatever it is that you're trying to reverse, it's going to be really hard. And you may not be able to do that. So as a parent, you got to just suck that up and say, I tried. You know, I hope that everything that we've instilled in you will pop up when it's supposed to, and it'll save you. But, you know, I still have another son that I have to raise.
So here's a more powerful statement. We screwed up. Let's not screw up on the next one.
Right.
Because I tried thing, no. Nope. You know, if you producing children can be like a cookie cutter process. It really can be cookie cutter. You can produce stars in a cookie cutter assembly line when you have a culture and you have a method in place. And when we don't take it with that level of diligence, and a lot of times we don't, because we're like, well, what's the harm? He's going to go to school. Yeah, he's going to hear some curse words or whatever. But, you know, when he comes home, it's a wholesome environment. And like you said, your husband has quiet time. We'll be turning off TVs. And so we're doing the right stuff. But sometimes, like just like this little video, we don't realize how inundated we are with the toxins. They're constantly coming at us. So you have to really turn it up in your parenting nowadays, or it is that like toss up. Well, maybe it'll, you know, hopefully this, you know, and we don't want that. We don't want that. We don't even need to have that at this point, because there are other societies where you have children that are really rebellious. Like if you look at so-called Jews, for instance, they arguing with their parents. Like, I mean, like 13, 14 years old, like, Ma, come on, what are you talking about? You know, they just be going, and that's a part of their culture, arguing and debating. You know, it's written into their culture, but at the same time, they still keep the tradition. When they grow up, they still stay within that tradition. So one of the things that we have to really develop is a method to give our children that sense of independence, but at the same time, give them a lot of traditional pride. You know, because like with so-called Jews, like they follow tradition because they're like, well, our tradition is better than yours. You're a Gentile. We're the chosen one. So yeah, we're going to keep this up. And we argue with our parents because no one's going to tell us what to do. Anything we want to achieve, we're going to achieve. You know, so right. It's like a careful balance that we need to learn to implement. But, you know, like just like in their culture, they leave nothing to chance. Nothing. You're going to eat the food here. You're going to wear the clothes here. You know, you're going to go to school with us. This, that. You're going to go to college with us. And then you're going to work for and with us. Because they know how toxic this society is. I don't want to give my child even just a little bit of crack cocaine. You know, I'd rather them just not have any crack at all. You know, so yeah, it's like use that as a statement. Like you know, look at where we could have went here, we could have did this. But at 15, that boy is grown. They grown. You know, his testicles and dropped. He's you know, secreting semen. His voice has changed. I got a little mustache. You know what I mean? Like, can't tell. That's a grown man you're talking to. I mean, not a grown man, but an adult boy you're talking to. It's not, you know, he's got to go out there and get he's got to get knocked around. And then he can meet his father in the park. You know, and they can sit and talk on the bench, and his father could say, yeah, I told you. You know, it's got to go down like that.
Right.
You know, at that age, at that point. You know.
Yeah.
And for all those listening, typically after 13, you can't get them. Just for everybody listening and wonder, if you haven't got them locked in by 13, in this society, all you could do is do rituals and affirmations at that point.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of where we messed up, because of course we like to think of ourselves as a cultural family and all of that, but we're constantly double dutching between this and just general society. Like you said, letting them go to school with general population and not really just grabbing them in and saying, this is what we do. This is what we're about all day, 365, 24/7. They have options. Would you say that, Ron? Would you say that's how we've done it?
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, thank you so much. I was getting ready to say, where's your husband? Because all right, good. Because this is a part of culture, too. Like, I was getting ready to say, where's your husband? Because I'm not really giving you instruction. I just want to, because I can't instruct you. I can, you know what I mean? So I'm so glad that you did that. That was beautiful for everybody listening.
Well, peace and blessings. You know, I'm glad that y'all have this platform and this network and this community, man. And it's really good, and I'm open to it and very supportive, and I appreciate, you know, all the kind words as well as wisdom that you're sharing with our family, because it is very helpful, and it's needed, It's humbling, and it's also very comforting to know that not other people are struggling, but you know that you're not alone in this quest. You know, we're all trying to pursue the next phase.
Yeah, and you know, brother, it's not so hard when we do it together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because there's wisdom that your family has, and I mean, obviously your wife is, you know, she spits a lot of jewels, and you know, she's on there. I don't always get to tune in. I'm kind of filling in right now, but I get the email, and people say, oh, you know, it's like those of you who call in regularly, you guys don't know, but you're like little kind of like celebrities. Because people send me emails like, oh, and so-and-so, and so-and-so, and this one helped me so much, and thank you, that was a blessing, and, you know, and that's really what it's about. We got to stop being so fragmented because we're getting picked off.
Right.
This situation you're going through with your son, you know, we have students in Florida. You know, I could have had 5, 6 brothers at your door. Like, look, man, we going to go for a walk, man. Come on. Like, we're going to go in the woods and we're going to walk. We're going to stay in these woods until you get your mind right, youngin'. You know, like, that's what we're going to do. You know, so it's like that. And I've done that before for other brothers, sons, myself. You know, so we're too fragmented, man. They're picking us off. And just the intellectual piece is good. The verbal and the vocalized support is great too. But I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. We need to physically be a little closer because the children need encouragement, but so do we sometimes, man. Sometimes we slip. You know, you and I might be walking down the street and you'll see a Maserati. Be like, man, I would love to have that Maserati. And I might be like, yeah, too, but yo, what happened to that land you were supposed to get in such and such? Did you get that land yet?
Right.
You know, you be like, nah, all right, brother, don't worry about the Maserati. You know, like, we need that too, you know? So just on a side note, for everybody listening, you know, just keep that in mind, you know. Don't forsake opportunities to get one another and break bread, especially, you know, for your family's survival, your survival, your children's survival, you need to assemble, you know. Yeah. But give thanks, brother, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know,
yes, that's my husband, y'all. He sounds fine, doesn't he?
Kim ain't on the line, so I don't even know why you doing all that sister girl stuff. This is the man hour. Call back Tuesday with that mess. This is the man hour.
We do all kinds of stuff on here. You need to be giving these shows.
Me? No, I'm busy. I got things to do.
No, I was supposed to my husband. He has a question.
I have a question.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully you'll have some insight, and this can, you know, hopefully it will be insightful to others as well. So one of the things, like my wife has said, while we identify ourselves as a cultural family, elevated, all that other good stuff, realistically, we find ourselves, you know, in a hypocritical situation, driving to work, you know, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, okay. So here I am specifically acknowledging that, you know, not so much, you know, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. I see where we're at, trying to balance it out. One of the things that I've said to all of my children, but specifically my son, I do not want to destroy our relationship, our future relationship, our long-term relationship over the things that I'm doing now as far as discipline, expectations in school, and so forth. That is not going to be wavered. That's standard. That's a requirement. You have to be disciplined. You have to be pursuing excellence instead of just, you know, going la la la. But I I do not want to have this. I hate pops. I can't wait to get out the house type of attitude, you know. And even when I'm asking you to leave, I don't want it to be like get the F out, but more of you reach the point, you know, and now you need to go ahead and move forward. How would you perceive that, or, you know, how do you think that is?
Well, there's a couple of pieces there. One, there's the standards of success that need to be defined, because that's a lot of times we lose our children in that. So you may say, no, you're going to do well in school, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, you're going to do that, but you and your wife are conscious. So your children are the next level of your consciousness. So if you know that working for a 9-to-5 for fiat currency is nonsense, then they're going to wake up sooner to know that Western education is nonsense.
Right.
So
right.
when you're pushing that, they're going to then associate you with the institution. So you got to be really careful about that. Like, you have to find, and I'm not saying, oh, just let them drop out, but I'm saying you got to have some addendum benchmark on top of that. You know, you got to, like let's say, I don't know, let's say you got a 15-year-old. Like, my thing in my family was I always told all the children by 15, better have a business plan in my hand, or I'm not feeding you anymore. Okay, so not that they have to start a business at 15, but I need a properly formatted and researched business plan in my hand, or you'll be eating out of the garden. You know, you have to grow your own food in the yard and figure it out yourself. Okay, so I didn't care what was going on for average 15-year-olds at that point, or it doesn't matter. This is what y'all are going to do, because these are our family standards. Okay, right. So that's one thing, man. Establish some standards that step outside of that. The second thing is difference between a young man specifically, because I'm of the feeling with girls, to be honest, that girls need to stay in the house until they're married. And I don't care if 25, 30 years old, you know, hopefully it wouldn't take that long, but nah, you stay now. You know, stay with your father, because you need that head. You know, as for boys, there's a stark difference between them wanting out of the house and wanting out of the family.
Right. Okay.
You know, and you know, you were that age. You remember with the males around you, you know, there's that subtle competition. You know, I remember seeing older men in my family the first time they got a Benz. One of my uncles, he got a Benz back in the day. You know, this loud diesel Benz. And I was like, yeah, you know, Uncle, you know, so-and-so's car is nice, but I ain't getting no diesel because it smoked too much. But I knew at that moment I'm getting a Benz, though. You know, so the race is on, the competition is on, you know. So there's going to be that level of competition, but I never saw it as, I'm going to get my Benz and drive away from this family. I'm going to get this Benz and I'm going to be the star of the family. I'm going to pick grandma up from church, you know, and so forth and so on. And you know, so you won't necessarily turn them away via competition. And I would say encourage it heavily. You know, encourage competition in every area. Physically, you know, can you run faster? And this, you know, I mean, you start to lose that one quick, you know, but, you know, that's a healthy aspect of rearing them. But you will turn them from you if you're pushing values that at your core, you're not even invested. You know, if you're pushing things that, you know, because you remember that the authenticity comes through. It's just like this. Sometimes you may speak to your wife, Tasha, and you say, Tasha, get over here. And if you know when your mojo's on, like when you saying it like that, but you kind of like hoping she'll get over there, but you're upset, but you know what I'm saying? And she can pick up on it. And she'll be like, man, if you don't get out my face, you know, because she can pick up on like, nah, you're not committed to that. And then there's other times you'll say it and, you'll hear dishes drop. She'll drop everything from running in the room because you're completely committed through and through. You see?
I understand.
So,
I understand what you're getting at.
Yeah.
You're making a great point. I understand.
Find those things that you can stand on. Like, no, this is you're gonna do this, you know, and then make that a part of the family culture. Make that the higher standard than anything else, and the other stuff will come as default. Like me saying to my children, 15 better have a business plan. Anything under that, like, okay, you're going to know how to read, you're going to have the mathematics down pat, your economics, you know, even an understanding of sociology, you know. There was always an acronym I used with my children, which was MAIL. Gotta have MAIL. And MAIL, I would always say, and they would say, you know, like quiz them, and they'd say MAIL is marketing, accounting, investing, and law.
Okay.
So, like from 2 years old, you know, that mail, you got mail, who got mail, you know.
Right. Okay.
So if you do that, the other stuff kind of comes by default. You see, the behavior, certain things comes by default because they have much higher goals and ambitions than what the society would give. And that's what you have to do. And that way, you'll never lose them because they'll always see you as bigger, badder, and more intelligent than whatever society presents to them. You know,
well,
my children think I'm Bruce Lee, brother. And I'm telling you, some days I'm so tired, man, I can't even get out my car. I got to, like, roll out the car and pull up on top of the hood. They don't know that. I don't let them see that. You know, they just know, man, Baba, the way he hits the heavy bag and stuff, man, because I'm larger than life. And that's how you got to be. Your family has to be larger than life.
I understand. Well, the way you've answered it, Baba, you not only gave me some insight and some good direction, but you also, it's almost like a little pat on the back, a little validation there. Not even a pat on the back, but that's what we were going for. Definitely, that's what I've been going for. I need some fine tuning, and I respect what you shared there, and I'll I will incorporate that into how we move forward here. But yeah, I definitely, you know, I've been telling them for a long time, man. I'm not gonna bash you and destroy you, you know, over the school stuff or getting a job thing. I don't know if she shared with you his whole employment mission. That wasn't even my choice for him, but I'll support you in it, and I don't want to destroy our long-term relationship, because one day I'm going to need you as my son, you know, and I don't want any type of angst or whatever, you know. I need to call you, you know, I need you to be there for me and to really be there, you know.
Brother Brandon, you need him now. You already need him. And you should tell him that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what you do with your son? Sit down and go over your will with him. I'm telling you, do that. Before the month is out, sit down with him and say, look, man, you know, walk him through the house and say, I want you to see where everything is in case something happens to me. Show him where your birth certificate is and pull it out. Show it to him. You know, put it on the table. Yeah, I want you to see where me and your mother's marriage certificate is. In case something happens to me, you're my right hand. I need you to handle it. If you got weapons in the house, here's the guns. Here's where the guns are. You know, take them through everything, man. This is the name of my lawyer. This is the name of the insurance company. The house mortgage is this. Take them through everything. You see, give him the name of your supervisor at work and his cell phone. Put that all in his lap and say, because, you know, you're my right hand, man. You're my fight. I need you. You look him in the eyes, you tell him, I need you, man. You're my fight. If anything happens to me, I need you to handle this, man. Start putting that on him like that. You know, but start with the will and let him see, like, nah, man, you're a part of my future. And, you know, but in the present moment, I need you right now. Big, strong boy, nah, man, you need him right now.
Yeah, that's a big light right there. A big light. Yes, indeed.
That was a big jewel. That was something that if every father did to their son and got that motivated, we probably would be in a lot better place. That was a big. Thank you, Chief. I appreciate it. Appreciate that.
My honor, man. What is my honor, man? But listen, man, I got daughters. So if I know, you know, I got daughters, and you know, so my thing is like, man, if I get y'all sons right, you know, I know who to look at. So you know, we got to make sure we got to see each other's children as our own, man. You know, we really, really do, and it's for our own survival. We got to keep the group strong. You know, so it's my honor to be able to do that, man. We're gonna head out. I'm way over the time, and I know Sister Kim, why you let my show go all over? But you know, now they're gonna be wanting me to go to 6:30. But I want to thank. Honestly, how did she close out? She closed. I don't know how she closed because she's closing out quick. But she's like, "All right, y'all." But I want to thank everybody for calling in, and Brother Brandon, you know, always welcome. Anytime want to call in, and you know, we probably do need to get something for the brothers too separately at some point. I'll speak to Brother Charles about that. But thank you all for calling in, man, and for your support, and definitely for your words of encouragement, because it ain't easy. It's definitely not easy. So, you know, we gain strength, you know, through just, even if it's just your verbal support, man, we gain strength. So thank you very much. Everyone, enjoy the rest of your day, man, and be safe and be loving and be loved. All right? Peace.
All right. Peace.
Peace.
Well done.